the mic.
Get on the mic.
Just get on the mic. Get on the mic, Mike.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Get on the Mic. That's where you put me in front of a microphone with a few notes and I talk about some of the more interesting things that have happened throughout the world of entertainment this week or whatever else I feel like talking about. As always, I am your host, the Reel Geno Reynolds, and we got a pretty packed program for you today. First, we'll be starting the way we've been starting lately with our segment, What is DC Doing? Also, we'll be talking about the TV show that's going to be based in the Bourne universe, Treadstone. We'll also be talking about Star Wars Resistance. The new trailer came out this week. Also, we'll be talking about a well-known character that will be returning for that series. We'll also be talking about Richard E. Grant's Star Wars role. There's a little bit of news there, maybe. We'll also be talking about The Girl in the Spider's Web, and we'll be talking about, was Rooney Mara going to return as Lisbeth Salander? Also, we'll be talking about the She-Ra Netflix series. Also, is Crazy Rich Asians racist? That's not me saying that. I read a really interesting article about that, and I'll be talking about that. Also, Bond 25 doesn't have a director anymore, and we'll have a MoviePass update. I had a conversation with MoviePass this week, and we talked about a little bit why some movie theaters had all the movies and some didn't, and I'll share my conversation I had with them over their chat feature. First things first, as usual though, at least lately, what is DC doing? There honestly wasn't a ton this week, surprisingly. The first thing is this. When the Green Lantern Corps movie finally gets made, if it gets made, who's going to be the next Green Lantern? If the latest rumors are true, the next Hal Jordan will be Tom Cruise. Reports a little over a year ago were claiming that Armie Hammer, who was also rumored to be George Miller's Batman in his Justice League movie that got scrapped, Hammer was rumored to be the next Green Lantern. He was even rumored... it was even rumored that he was going to appear in a teaser for, within the Justice League movie. There was a report published by the site Crazy Days and Nights that claims Cruise is the top choice for the lead role. They also say that Warner Brothers is trying to get a big-name star for the part, and Cruise is who they want. The report also claims that Cruise has said that he'll only sign on to do Green Lantern Corps if one major part of the film's script is changed. The part where his character dies. Spoiler much, right, if this is true. Christopher McQuarrie, who wrote and directed 2 Mission Impossible movies and Jack Reacher, has been also said to be linked to the movie in recent months. Of course, for now, this is all just speculation and rumors, as far as we know anyway. Warner Brothers has not made any comments concerning the casting of the Green Lantern Corps. So, that just makes me ask, and I want to ask you guys, those of you that listen to this program, who do you think should play Hal Jordan? Should Warner Brothers go with a big-name star like Tom Cruise, or should they try a lesser-known or even unknown actor for the role? Should Ryan Reynolds come back? Of course, I'm only kidding on that last one. But let me know what your thoughts are on this in the comments section below. I honestly don't know who I'd want to play Green Lantern. I don't think I would have a problem with Tom Cruise playing the part. Them bringing him in, it might be a little too late, of course, but them bringing him in would be like bringing in Robert Downey Jr. To play Tony Stark. Where you kind of got that bigger name actor playing that role. I know they kind of did that with Affleck with Batman, but of course we don't know if he's sticking around, right? So having someone be like a mentor type character, I mean, granted, Tom Cruise might be a little old, I don't know. I wouldn't have a problem with him playing the part. I would like to see him try something in the superhero genre. Of course, he was supposedly rumored, or at least up for Iron Man back in the day. Of course, we all know that Robert Downey Jr. is perfect for that, and we wouldn't change anything, but I mean, I could have seen him playing a Tony Stark, so why not a Green Lantern? But would I honestly though, if he's gonna be an established character already, I would say, if we're not gonna get if they want to show flashbacks of an origin and de-age Tom Cruise, but then have Marty be just an established character where he's been off in space, being a Green Lantern, I would be okay with that. I don't want to see an origin movie with. Granted, I don't want to see an origin movie at all, but I wouldn't want to see an origin movie with Tom Cruise. Only flashbacks. If they are gonna do an origin movie, which would be stupid, they'd be making the same mistake that the Amazing Spider-Man movies made, where it's like, we don't need this, we know what it is. If they're gonna do that, they'll go with someone younger. But if they're gonna go with an established hero, Tom Cruise would probably be not too terrible of a pick. I mean, of course, everyone wants Nathan Fillion. I mean, Nathan Fillion wants Nathan Fillion. But honestly, I think I'd rather see Nathan Fillion do the Booster Gold Blue Beetle movie that he wanted to do with Alan Tudyk. So yeah, I would think I'd rather see out Nathan Fillion. I think I don't want Green Lantern to be too funny. A little humor's fine, but I'd rather see Nathan Fillion do something funnier like a Booster Gold. Another rumor for Green Lantern that I've heard for a little bit was Michael Rosenbaum. I'm not sure him as Green Lantern. I think him as Green Lantern, he'd probably be all right. But I mean, he voiced the Flash for so long that I would have rather seen him play the Flash. But of course, we already have a Flash, so that ain't gonna happen. So let's move on. For those of you excited for the big CW DC show crossover event, here is some news for you. I honestly have never really watched those shows. I think I watched Arrow a couple times, but I just don't have the kind of time to be able to spend to watch those shows. But anyway, if you like those shows, this news is for you. Tyler Hoechlin will be bringing his version of Superman to the crossover event, and he's not coming alone. The Man of Steel will be joined in the event by none other than his main squeeze, Lois Lane. On Twitter, DC Comics posted this: ready for this power couple to make their DC TV appearance? While showing a cartoon picture of Lois and Clark flying in the Metropolis sky. While it has not been announced who is playing Lane, Supergirl executive producers Jessica Queller and Robert Rovner had this to say about the character, quote, this dogged, determined, and brave reporter will make for a strong partner to Superman, an amazing addition to our universe of DC characters, end quote. The crossover event will take place over multiple nights: The Flash on December 9th, Arrow on December 10th, and Supergirl on December 11th. The crossover will also see the debut of Ruby Rose as Batwoman. That's all DC's been doing this week. There really wasn't a lot out there from DC. I'm a little disappointed in you, DC. I'm used to combing through about 57,000 different stories to find something. But yeah, not a lot happened in the DC universe this week. Moving on. I want to talk about the Treadstone TV show. It's no real secret to those that have followed this channel for a while that I love the Bourne trilogy. While I wasn't the biggest fan of the Bourne Legacy or Matt Damon's return in Jason Bourne, the original trilogy is a set of 3 movies that I can always be entertained by. As those that follow the series know, Jason Bourne was a product of Operation Treadstone, which is an underground Black Ops CIA operation that brainwashes and turns U.S. service members into highly skilled assassins and or killing machines that get really bad headaches a lot. Instead of another movie, as of right now anyway, the USA Network has ordered a new television show called Treadstone, which will be based in the Bourne universe. Season 1 will follow several different sleeper agents throughout the globe. It hasn't been entirely revealed if the story will be set as a prequel series or a present-day one, but I have a feeling that it'll be a little bit of both. Here is what's been revealed of the plot so far. Treadstone explores the origin story and present-day actions of CIA Black Ops program known as Treadstone, a covert operation that uses behavioral modification protocol to turn its agents into nearly unstoppable superhuman assassins. The series follows sleeper agents across the globe as they're mysteriously awakened to resume their deadly missions. There's no word on any casting yet, but many are saying that you shouldn't expect Matt Damon to show up or anything. Honestly, though, I'd have to say that I kind of disagree with that statement. I could see him doing a couple of big episodes or something like that. Maybe seeing The Hunt for Bourne from the perspective of some of the show's main characters. I hate to say this, but his stock has been a little low lately. Sure, he had a few cameos that were really entertaining in movies like Thor Ragnarok and Deadpool 2, but he hasn't really had a hit movie since The Martian in 2015, and then before that, he was in a bit of a drought. Even his return as Jason Bourne was met with mixed reviews. I honestly thought the movie was okay, and that actually really hurt me. I could totally see him doing something like this show to bolster a little interest in his quote-unquote actor stock. What are your thoughts on the Bourne series being spun off into a TV show? Do you think that they should just make movies about it instead? What did you think of movies like The Bourne Legacy or the newest Jason Bourne? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Next, I want to talk about Star Wars Resistance. A very short trailer has been released for the new animated show Star Wars Resistance. It definitely looks a lot different than the last Star Wars cartoon Rebels, but I've learned to give the art style a chance because the story might sell me on it. This happened with both the Clone Wars and Rebels. Both of them didn't impress me at first when I first saw it, but then the show started and that just really brought me into it. So hopefully it'll be the same for this show. Well, I don't know if I'd call this art style of the show cel-shaded. It definitely has a very cel-shaded feel, mixed with an American anime influence. That's about the best way I could describe it. I wasn't as put off by this art style as I was with the other two shows the first time I saw them. That being said, there was a lot of concern that this show might not appeal to the older fan. The trailer is extremely colorful and bright, which might mean that Disney is trying to reach a much younger audience with this show. That being said, they said that about the other two cartoons as well, and we saw how they ended up changing for the older fan in the end. While a timeline of when the show takes place hasn't been officially released, many reports are saying 6 months before The Force Awakens. We do know that it does take place before Episode 7. The show follows Kazuda Ixiano. I guess that's how you pronounce that last name. It's Xiono. He is a young pilot recruited by the Resistance whose mission it is to spy on the growing threat of the First Order. As for returning characters, minus the one we'll talk about in a bit, we do know that Oscar Isaac will reprise his role as Poe Dameron, and Gwendolyn Christie will be back as Captain Phasma, plus BB-8 will be involved as well. The Clone Wars and Rebels creator, David Filoni, will be in charge of this series as well, which is a really good thing considering what he has done, what he did with the first two cartoon series. Filoni was asked about the inspiration for the series, and he had this to say, quote, "The idea for Star Wars Resistance came out of my interest in World War II aircraft and fighter pilots. My grandfather was a pilot, and my uncle flew and restored planes. So that's been a big influence on me. There's a long history of high-speed racing in Star Wars, and I think we've captured that sense of excitement in an anime-inspired style, which is something the entire team has been wanting to do for a long time." Some details about the first episode have also been revealed. In the 1 hour premiere, The Recruit, Poe and BB-8 assign Kaz to the Colossus, where he meets a cast of colorful new aliens, droids, and creatures. While undercover to spy on the growing threat of the First Order, Kaz works as a mechanic and lives with Poe's old friend Yeager, a veteran pilot who operates a starship repair shop run by his crew, Tam, Niku, and a battered old astromech called Bucket. Now, for that surprise returning character. And this one might not make a lot of people happy, but just hear me out here. I think this character is necessary given when the show takes place in the Star Wars timeline. You probably know where I'm going with this. General Leia Organa will be appearing in the series. She'll always be royalty to me. Actress Rachel Butera confirmed this by revealing that she will be providing the voice of the iconic character. She said, quote, "I can finally announce that I have the incomprehensible honor of voicing the role of Leia Organa in the new Star Wars Resistance out this October. Thank you." I know that some might have a problem with this, but to be honest, I don't. I think that this is way different than, say, recasting her or using a CGI character to bring her back to life in live action form. This isn't the first time the character has been voiced by someone other than Carrie Fisher. Julie Dolan has voiced her for an episode of Star Wars Rebels, an episode of Lego Star Wars The Freemaker Adventures, and the video game Star Wars Uprising in Disney Infinity. Catherine Tabor voiced her for Star Wars Detours and the game Star Wars The Force Unleashed, which you can watch me play through on my channel. Well, I think it would be cool if they had some unused voice samples that they could use for the series. The character is pretty necessary to the story. If they had the unused voice samples, that would be cool. But they don't, apparently. So they had to recast. It hasn't been said just how much the character is going to be used, just that she would be involved in the series. I imagine it'll be like Rebels, where it focuses more on the new characters, less on the already established ones. A lot of the established characters in Rebels, at least the ones in the live action movies, with Rebels, they were there, but they would show up for like an episode or two. You had Lando for an episode or two. You saw Luke in the distance on Tatooine. You had Leia in one episode. They weren't used a ton. They were used as support. The main story focused on the new characters. I guess we'll find out more about all this stuff soon, because Star Wars Resistance will be premiering Sunday, October 7th on the Disney Channel, Disney Now, and Disney Channel VOD, with subsequent airings on Disney XD. Sticking with Star Wars, I want to talk about Richard E. Grant's Star Wars role. This is just a small update on a story we talked about before on this program. Many speculated that Grant might be playing the fan favorite villain Grand Admiral Thrawn in the latest Star Wars movie. I mean, why not? He's got the body type and the acting chops to pull it off. Unfortunately, at least as of right now, according to the actor, he is not playing that part. In an interview with Radio Times, he said that while he couldn't reveal who he was playing, he could say that it wasn't Thrawn. He said, quote, "I'm not playing the Star Wars character you just mentioned." He told the publication, quote, "I'm not allowed to tell you anything, otherwise I would be fired. It's a complete lockdown on any information whatsoever," end quote. In a way, if he's telling the truth anyway, I'm kind of happy about this. Don't get me wrong, I'd like to see him play the part, but if Thrawn is going to be coming back, I think I'd rather it be in something involving the Rebel show, whether that be a continuation of the cartoon, either in cartoon or live action form, or a movie or something like that, or a live action show for the new Disney streaming service coming soon. I'd rather it be something that follows Ahsoka and Sabine's search for Ezra Bridger. I mean, because the last time we saw Thrawn, he was getting zipped off in the light speed with Ezra on a starship. So, and we don't know if either of them were alive. I'm pretty excited, though, that Grant is involved in this franchise. I've always been a big fan of his, and it seems that anything he's in, he just makes better. My guilty pleasure love of Hudson Hawk. Thanks you, Mr. Grant. The next story I want to talk about is The Girl in the Spider's Web. And what I'm wondering is, and that I read an article on, was Rooney Mara going to be returning to this franchise? I've talked about my love for the movie The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo on this show. When I get into that weird kind of mood, I watch that movie and have a great time. Don't ask me to explain why this is, because honestly, I don't get it myself. It's a weird movie, and I don't know, I just got to be in that right mindset to watch it. I can watch it no matter what, but when I'm really in that weird kind of mood, that's one of my go-to movies, and I don't get why. One of my biggest movie disappointments, though, is that David Fincher never returned to continue. He did the first part, but there's 2 more, at least at the time, of the Millennium series. They're up to 5 now, but we'll get to that in a second. An even bigger disappointment was that Daniel Craig and especially Rooney Mara weren't going to be returning to it. Despite critics and audiences alike giving the movie some praise, a cluttered holiday box office kept it from making the movie that the studios were hoping it would make, hence no sequels. Cut to now, or November anyway, and we will be getting The Girl in the Spider's Web, which is based on the 4th book of the Millennium series, the first not written by Stieg Larsson, who passed away after only completing 3 books of what was supposed to be a 10-book series. There's a whole other ugly subject that could be discussed about all the book series, but we're not here to discuss the book series. We're here to talk about the movie one. Since this story and the movie supposedly is supposed to be the continuation of the movie franchise that was already begun with Rooney Mara's Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Sony was considering bringing Rooney Mara back to play Lisbeth Salander. I would have loved that, but Fede Alvarez, the director of the new movie, explained why he didn't want to do that. He said, quote, "There was a lot of debate, but not with me. Mostly debate among the studio if they were taking that route or not. Eventually, I think it was me coming in saying I preferred to have my own cast. As a director, I just didn't like the idea of taking someone else's cast. As much as I admired Fincher as a filmmaker, and I think Rooney Mara is Fincher's Lisbeth, right? And I wanted to find my own." And he did. He picked Claire Foy, who is known for Unsane and Netflix's The Crown, who I really liked in Unsane. I've never seen The Crown, but she did win a SAG award for Best Actress last year for that show, so that must say something, right? So what about Rooney Mara? Would she have come back to the role? Many people thought no. The answer, though, is maybe. She said this back in 2017, quote, "Different director, different author of the book. I would have loved to have done it, but I think it probably would have been a letdown in a way. It never would have matched the experience I already had." Well, I would have loved to have seen her come back. It seems by what she said and also by what the director, Fede Alvarez, said, they've made the right choice in moving on. I, for one, am really looking forward to seeing how this one is going to go. The Girl in the Spider's Web will be hitting theaters November 9th. Next, I want to talk about the She-Ra Netflix series. First, unless I forgot, I don't remember there being a She-Ra reboot in the works. It is the latest cartoon from my childhood, along with Thundercats, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, DuckTales, and others, that are being rebooted in a way that is really trying to appeal to a younger audience rather than trying to please the original version's fan base. Gotta sell them toys, right? Anyway, I'm not here to talk about the fan outrage over this cartoon or anything like that. Honestly, I'm okay with things being rebooted to try to appeal to a younger audience. I just can't stand things being taken away too early, like, say, the original Teen Titans. Also, I just can't stand things being rebooted into perverted pieces of crap, like Michael Bay's Transformers movies, for example. Come on, you knew I was going to go there. Movie gods help us if he gets a hold of He-Man. Anyway, no. Today, we're going to talk about the showrunner for the show's reboot, Noel Stevenson, and how Dungeons & Dragons has had inspiration on the new She-Ra show. She says that she started playing D&D around the time she started developing her version of She-Ra. Stevenson's first character was, in her words, a tiefling warlock nightmare baby. She said, quote, she was a teenager who sold her soul to the devil to make her mom mad. I steal a lot from characters I've made from D&D, end quote. She said that her character was a teleporter, so when she found she was dealing with a character on She-Ra who shared that ability, she tapped into the D&D world to flesh it out. Quote, I pull so much inspiration from D&D because how do you embody these characters? How do you embody it when you have a mission for these characters? And you go and you figure it out from there, end quote. If you're going to pull inspiration for a fantasy world of magic and monsters, there's really no other better place to get that inspiration than from Dungeons and Dragons, in my opinion. As a fan of the He-Man universe growing up, I'm at least at the very least excited to take a look at this show. For those wondering, I also want to take a look at the new Thundercats show as well. I know a lot of people are up in arms about that one. I gotta say, though, I didn't dislike the last reboot of that show. So we'll see how both of these are going to go soon enough. The next story I want to talk about is the movie Crazy Rich Asians racist? And again, that's not me saying this. This is an article I read. So it seems that Crazy Rich Asians can do no wrong. Am I right? Many are claiming that this movie is groundbreaking and also how it's like the second coming of rom-coms. Slow down. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the movie, but it wasn't without its flaws, nor was it this entirely original romantic comedy. Anyway, the issue that I'm going to talk about today is one that I never thought of because, to be perfectly honest, I don't really know a ton about the different kinds of people in Singapore. I recently read an article that will play a little bit of devil's advocate a bit on those that think this movie can do no wrong. In an article on the website Wear Your Voice, Sangeetha Thanapal, an activist and writer of Singapore Indian origin, whose work explores Chinese privilege, said the film is, quote, simply is not the great Asian hope that it is being portrayed to be. She said, quote, while it is being billed as an Asian movie, it is made up mostly entirely of East Asians. The few brown people featured in it are seen in service positions to the glamorous and wealthy Chinese characters. The dominance of East Asia in the worldwide imagination of who constitutes the idea of Asia is troubling, especially since brown Asians make up a sizable portion of the continent. A key criticism of the film is that it entirely erases the 15% of those in Singapore who are Malay and the 6.6% who are Indian. Quote, brown Asians have been overlooked from the American definition of Asian for generations, Thanapal said. Another journalist, Kat Wang, said that in the context of Singapore, the film, quote, renders minorities invisible. She said, quote, the movie perpetrates the misguided view that to be Asian means to be Chinese. So while critics and starstruck fans have hailed Crazy Rich Asians as a decisive victory for Asians everywhere, in reality, such an assessment is simplistic at its very best and destructive at its very worst, end quote. Some journalists are pointing out that the movie is only based around a specific type of Asian community, the super rich, ultra glamorous, and extremely westernized versions. Journalist Kirsten Hahn said, quote, would the white Hollywood executives who backed the film have done it or have done so if it hadn't been about the over-the-top Asian wealth? There are comments from journalists, reviewers, and even the film's director gathered on the Guardian's website in an article called Where Are the Brown People? Crazy Rich Asians Draws Tepid Response in Singapore. Take a look at the article if you get a chance. If you want to see it, I'll put a link to it in the description below. Moving on, we're going to be talking about Bond 25. Bond 25 doesn't have a director anymore. It was announced this week that Danny Boyle has left the not yet titled Bond 25 because of, quote, creative differences. We haven't heard that one before. We as moviegoers know that when that term is used, somebody left because somebody didn't get their way. While this has only been confirmed by one, yes, I said one source, which means it could be BS. We talked about this last week. The creative differences that Boyle left over were not so much the producers with whom the filmmaker clashed with, no, but with James Bond himself, Daniel Craig, who is convinced to return as 007 one more time, and it's understood that he has a large say in casting. According to the article, the one article, the rift came down to whether or not Polish actor Tomasz Kot should play the film's lead villain. Kot is the star of Cannes Film Festival 2018 Darling Cold War. He was viewed as a left field choice because he was less well known than the franchise's last two villains, Javier Bardem, who was the villain in Skyfall, and Christoph Waltz, who was the villain in Spectre. The script would call for Kot to be playing a Russian in a plot that would play off of the recent real-world political tensions with Russia, imagining it developing into a modern-day Cold War. Boyle apparently also insisted that he bring in a new script for the movie, bringing in his frequent collaborator John Hodge to pen a new script. This would also mean that the existing one done by long-serving Bond writers Neil Purvis and Robert Wade would be dropped. Some quote-unquote sources said that this quote-unquote infuriated producer Barbara Broccoli. There is no word if this means Boyle and Hodge's script will still be the one that's used, if they will go back to the Purvis and Wade one, or if a new script will be used altogether. I imagine that no matter what they choose, they're going to have to push back the production of this movie. Bond 25 was slated to begin filming at the very beginning of December for an October 25th, 2019 release date. Again, remember, this story as of right now is only speculation. Here's the thing. If the director and main actor were going to clash over something as simple as the casting of one character, it's probably a good thing that one of them left. Imagine what would probably happen on set when the two of them are clashing over other things all the time, every day. Look, as much as I wanted to see a Danny Boyle Bond film, I don't want to see another disaster like Spectre again. So let's try to to do something civil and get people that want to work together and at least try to give us a good movie. The next big story, a MoviePass update. I had a conversation with MoviePass over their chat feature. So after pretty much decimating MoviePass on this program over the last few weeks, I decided to go at it in a different way. Excuse me. I decided that I was going to play nice with them. While I can tell you that they have done pretty much everything they can to infuriate me over the past few months, I wanted to get to the bottom of something about the plan. Why theaters with e-ticketing would have every screening available, but theaters without e-ticketing would have only a few selections available that would disappear over time. While I didn't get all of my questions answered, I did find out who is and who isn't qualified for the quote-unquote complete movie roster. Long story short, on who isn't, To no surprise, that would be AMC. I'm going to read my discussion with MoviePass over their chat function on the app in its completion. So here we go. I'm reading everything, so because I got to have a little fun with this, right? Hi, thanks for contacting MoviePass support. Please summarize the issue you are having in your first chat message so we can send your request to the correct team and assist you as quickly as possible. My response. Hi, I was wondering why the theaters with e-ticketing have all the times daily and those that don't. I'm covering this for my podcast this week and wanted to get the facts straight. I can't find the reason why anywhere. Thank you. And then they post up a thing that says, let's see if these articles help or do you need to talk to someone? I said, I need to talk to someone. Their response, thank you for contacting MoviePass. Make sure you have your push notifications on to be notified when we respond. Hi, Geno. We apologize for the inconvenience. Unfortunately, you are only able to book the show times that are available in the MoviePass app. We are unable to reimburse any purchases for show times not appearing in the MoviePass app. E-ticketing theaters will continue to show all available show times. So, of course, I'm realizing I'm talking to an automated response. So I said, that's not what I asked. I was just asking for information so I could get the facts straight. Then they realized, oh, hey, we're talking to a real person here. So it says, we apologize. This question will be answered by a development team. Is there anything else we can help you with today? And I said, no. Will they be answering over chat? Thanks. And they answer back, all e-ticketing theaters are partner theaters that we have agreed upon terms with to offer these movies. And I said, are there specifically certain theater chains that are involved with this? Any excluded chains? Thanks. Of course, they didn't add their excluded chains, but you could tell when I read the list here who's not there. You're welcome. E-ticketing theaters are indicated in a red ticket icon, which they're not. It's not red. I believe it's white. Participating theaters include Goodrich Quality Theater, Studio Movie Grill, Landmark Theaters, Flicks Brewhouse, and MJR Theaters. And I said, thanks for the info. And we ended the conversation nice and civilly. So yeah. I still really wanted to know, and I'm going to ask this probably later, why it has to be e-ticketing theaters. I mean, those theaters they named are e-ticketing theaters, and I get that. But what is it about an e-ticket theater? Is it that the prices are set? Whereas in maybe if there's not e-ticketing, they're not. I don't know, because in a way, AMC has e-ticketing. You can order your tickets, and I mean, not all the theaters have the e-ticket stations, but some do. I know one of the ones in Springfield does, or a couple of them in Springfield do. Whereas in the ones here in Decatur don't. So I'm not sure why that is, but it seems like they made deals with a lot of the bigger theaters that aren't called AMC, and they're trying to, in a way, encourage people to go to those theaters instead of AMC. At least that's the way I see it. But it's nice to know that those certain theaters are ones that are going to have everything. So if I do need to see something and it's like, I may have to travel because, I mean, the only one near me is a Goodrich, and it's about, 40 minutes, 45 minutes away or so, maybe even more, in Savoy, Illinois. But soon, I will be going back to the chat function on the app to ask some more questions about things like why do movies disappear over time, and anything else I can think of. As you can tell, if you can get past the automated responses, you can get the info out of them. If you just gotta, do as my mom says. Even if you're mad at them, kill them with kindness. I'm not satisfied with all the answers, but I'm gonna keep digging. I really want to understand how MoviePass ticks. I know why they're doing some things. We talked about why they're only offering certain movies at certain times. It's because they're trying to stop the bleeding of cash. But when it comes to why some theaters have them, why some theaters don't. I'm really going to keep trying to dig into this, so keep tuned to this program, because when I find out something, I will share it with you. Now on to quick hits. Chris Jericho has joined Kevin Smith's new anthology movie Kilroy Was Here. In a statement on Facebook, he said, quote, "Presenting the Gator Chaser, a nasty-ass South Florida steamer played by Chris Jericho. I've been shooting a horror anthology called Kilroy Was Here with the kids of Ringling College, Digital Caviar, and Simcore Productions for about a year now. Over the course of three trips to Sarasota, we've been making a modern-day creepshow kind of flick with 70% of the crew being students, so filled with raw talent, their pure passion for film and ability to find fixes to production problems makes up for any deficit of experience." He also revealed that Jericho did some behind-the-camera work as well. Quote, "Every crew member wears multiple hats on a low-budget film. So last night, when Jericho got to set, I asked the master podcaster and WWE icon to not only act, but also operate the camera for himself in his scene as well. When presented with this info, did the Fozzy frontman show trepidation? No way. Homie goes with the flow and not only crushes his character and dialogue, but shoots the damn spooky scene as well. That's the kind of actor or actress you need on any indie film. A partner who will not only carry their end of the bargain, but also help elevate the entire production as well. And even when this pic was taken at 4 a.m, he showed a picture on the post. Chris was energetic, and mind you, he had just gotten back from Europe the night before. I've been wanting to work with the man since we guested on each other's podcasts, and I was delighted to discover an actor I'll cast forever now, because film is Jericho. Next story. If Tim Miller would have remained the writer and director of Deadpool 2, part of his version of the movie might have been rather fantastic. In a series of illustrations on Instagram, Alexander Lozano, who served as storyboard artist on Deadpool, revealed that Miller had planned to feature the Fantastic Four in Deadpool 2, and by the look of the art, it would have brought back the cast from everybody's favorite version of the group, the Fan-Forstic versions of them, actors and all. Of course, Miller dropped out over those wonderful mutual creative differences with star Ryan Reynolds, and David Leitch would take over the movie, which ended up featuring Cable, the man-machine who travels back in time to kill a future supervillain. Miller, on the other hand, has taken on the duties of trying to save the Terminator franchise. You know, the movies where a man-machine goes back in time to... Hey, wait a minute. Anyway, I do have to say the new designs of the Fan-Forstic suits are pretty great. It's too bad they didn't get to be the butt of some of Deadpool's jokes. Also, to nobody's surprise, it is rumored that David Leitch is going to be directing Deadpool 3. There's nothing really to support this claim. Also, we don't know what's going to happen to the Deadpool franchise once Disney takes over. Another factor is that Fox is moving forward with their X-Force film, which is coming from writer and director Drew Goddard, so I'm sure we won't be hearing anything official about Deadpool other than for X-Force for quite some time. In reaction to Disney not being willing to bring back James Gunn to Guardians 3, Dave Bautista's at it again and is keeping up the offense. In a tweet that sort of references Disney bowing down to the alt-right conspiracy theorist Mike Chernovich, who is the one who dug up the old tweets by Gunn that got him fired, Bautista tweeted, "Thanks, Disney, making America great again." Another Marvel actor has come out in defense of Gunn. Vincent D'Onofrio, who plays the Kingpin on Netflix's Daredevil series, tweeted, quote, "This is a big bummer." In reference to the same article that Bautista posted on his Thanks Disney tweet that we just mentioned. If you want to read that article, I'll put a link to the article that both of them made reference to in the description below. The HBO Watchmen series has been picked up for a full season order. While not much is known about the show yet, one thing that will always be certain about a Watchmen project, Alan Moore will be rolling around in his grave, and he's not even dead yet. Bruce Campbell has stated that he is officially retired from the Evil Dead franchise. While there is supposedly an Evil Dead video game in the works featuring Ash and his ghost beaters, he is done playing Ash on screen. He did say that Evil Dead could continue without Ash. He said, quote, "You have Ash's daughter, Brandy. She provides the lineage. Ray is a shaman now, as Pablo, and Kelly is just a full-on Lucy Lawless type badass who's got vengeance in her eyes. So that's enough for me. 3's a good number. I would also continue the movies with Mia, with Jane Levy, because she's awesome." Michael Shannon. Oh, by the way, this next story, language alert. I'm going to be quoting Michael Shannon here, so just be warned. Because I can't, if I don't say it the way he says it, it just won't have the same impact. Michael Shannon is known to take a lot of chances playing characters that you wouldn't expect him to be playing, like Elvis Presley and Elvis and Nixon, for example. That being said, there is one role that the actor said he would never, ever play. No, Donald Trump. In an interview with Playboy magazine, he gave his thoughts about why he has no desire to play Trump. He said, quote, "The fucking guy doesn't even know what's in the Constitution. He doesn't have any grasp of history or politics or law or anything. He's just blindfolded, throwing darts at the side of a bus," end quote. When asked what he thinks Trump thinks about in the dead of night, Shannon pretty much summed up what an idiot he thinks our current president is. He said, quote, "He's probably thinking, I want some fucking pussy. I don't know. I'm not going to remotely contemplate the notion that Trump is capable of deep reflection. It doesn't happen. Fuck that guy. When he's alone with his thoughts, he's not capable of anything more complex than I want some pussy and a cheeseburger. Maybe my wife will blow me if I tell her she's pretty." So, Mr. Shannon, tell us how you really feel. I gotta say, the bluntness of Michael Shannon is just one reason why I love that fucking guy. Eva Longoria and Michael Pena have signed on to play Dora the Explorer's mom and dad respectively. Now, come on. To me, that's pretty much a no surprise, give me type casting choice. Am I right? I won't be surprised if Cheech Marin is cast as her grandfather later. What I really want to know is who's going to play Boots and who's going to play Swiper. And if they pick someone like Jamie Foxx as Swiper, that would be hilarious. Netflix's Glow is officially getting a season 3, and shockingly, we already know when it's going to be coming out, sort of. You can expect to see Alison Brie, Betty Gilpin, Kia Stevens, because you gotta show love for the Kong, and the rest of the gang around late June 2019, according to most reports. There was no real surprise that they got a quick renewal announcement. Season 2 was just as, if not more, solid than Season 1. Season 2 really fleshed out some of the side characters and made them feel more like main characters, where Season 1 kind of revolved around maybe 3 of them, where they felt like the main characters and everyone else just felt like they were there for support. I, for one, can't wait for more gorgeous ladies of wrestling. We're now finding out some more possible information to why Johnny Depp's movie City of Lies, which is centered around the murders of Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G., we're finding out why it was delayed. It seems that Depp has been accused of punching location manager Greg "Rocky" Brooks twice in the ribs when he tried to enforce permit restrictions on the set, and a lawsuit has now been filed. In the case's legal documents, Depp's attorneys do not admit the star or his co-defendants hit Brooks, but say the location manager's behavior caused Depp to, quote, fear for his safety, end quote. In a statement, Depp's lawyer Adam Waldman said, quote, despite false media reports suggesting otherwise, Johnny Depp never touched the person suing him, as over a dozen witnesses present will attest. In a court filing, we have generally denied all claims, and we will fight these latest sham allegations, end quote. So, whether he did it or not, do you think that Warner Brothers and Disney are thinking twice about having Depp involved in Fantastic Beasts and the upcoming Pirates movies, respectively? I think they are. Because No show can really ever go away for good. A Veronica Mars revival is in the works on Hulu. While it hasn't been confirmed, the show's return would be for a limited run series, and Kristen Bell would be returning to star despite her commitments to NBC's The Good Place. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross have once again teamed up to score Jonah Hill's new movie Mid-90s. They have teamed up before for the scores for 3 David Fincher movies: The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Gone Girl, and Social Network. That last one they won an Oscar for. The movie Mid-90s, already looks pretty fantastic, and this is just yet another reason to be excited for it. While their roles are not yet known, John Hamm and Ed Harris are set to enter the danger zone and have joined the cast for the Top Gun sequel. They will join Tom Cruise, Miles Teller, Jennifer Connelly, Val Kilmer, and others, the cast members that we know so far. Top Gun Maverick, or whatever it ends up being called, is set for a July 12th, 2019 release in theaters. To the surprise of nobody, a sequel to Crazy Rich Asians is on the way. If they're going to follow the book series, it should be called China Rich Girlfriend. John Lithgow has been cast to play Roger Ailes in the Fox News movie that they're working on. He joins Nicole Kidman as Gretchen Carlson and Charlize Theron as Megyn Kelly. And lastly, Hugh Laurie has been cast to star in the HBO pilot for the space comedy Avenue 5. Laurie will play the lead Ryan Clark, the charming and in-control American captain of Avenue 5. The show is being developed by Veep creator Armando Iannucci. Not much else is known except that the show will be set in the future, mostly in space. And that's the end of Quick Hits. I want to draw your attention to a few different things. The smaller YouTuber Spotlight video that's in the description below. I ask that you guys share that with all your friends. If you find smaller YouTubers, share their channels in the description. If you have friends that have a smaller YouTuber channel, have them share it in the description. I want to help smaller YouTubers as much as I can by sharing that video, by putting the links to smaller YouTubers in the description. I'm hoping that it'll help at least the smaller YouTubers at least get some extra viewers, and maybe, you never know, people might find their new favorite channel down there. So if you know of some, if you have friends that have a smaller channel, or if you could just share it on all your social media, please share the small YouTuber Spotlight video that I have in the description below. I want to give you guys an update on another Cinema Snob movie. It completed its funding, and then they extended the campaign to try to reach the stretch goal of 75,000. On Twitter, Brad revealed that between Indiegogo and Super Chat funds, the campaign did meet its stretch goal. Hopefully this means that the movie will get to be everything that it was meant to be. I know some things that I can't share, but if Brad gets the things that he wants, there's going to be some really cool stuff in this movie, including the actor that he wants to play his dad. Like I said, I can't say anything. But yeah, if he can get him, that will be pretty fantastic. But I want to thank everyone that watched the streams, that donated, that showed your support towards this movie. I know it's much appreciated by Brad, but also, you know, I put a lot of time into helping promote it and everything, and I just want to thank everyone that took the time to watch the streams, to donate, just to give your well wishes. Everything you guys did is much appreciated. A bit of a channel update. Talking Movies will resume over the weekend. Reviews, keep your eye on the channel for reviews of the Happy Time Murders and AXL. I should be seeing AXL on Sunday. I'm seeing Happy Time Murders tonight. And anything else I can get my hands on. I did watch the Deadpool 2 super duper cut. I'm going to do a small update video on that. I'm not going to re-review the whole movie, but I think I'm going to do a video that talks about the changes they made, which ones I thought were good, which ones I thought were unnecessary. Most of them honestly were good. I'm looking forward to talking about what they added to the after credits scene, or scenes, I guess, because they changed up the best one a little bit, and then they added one that they had to cut out from the theatrical release. But anyway, We'll probably talk about that sometime next week. Geno's Bad at Games continues. I finally got to continue playing Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Life kind of got in the way a little bit, but I am back in a galaxy far, far away, and continuing the adventures of Starkiller and the creation of the rebellion. Also, finally this last week, I got my review up, my Crossing Streams review of Jessica Jones and Luke Cage Seasons 2. Make sure to check that out on the channel. And also, I do have my review of the first episode of Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you want to find a video that I've been involved in, or videos for those that are either officially or unofficially under the GB3 umbrella, that little tiny umbrella like they have in the Looney Tunes cartoons, like Wile E. Coyote holds above his head. It's a tiny umbrella, but you know, there are some channels under it. Make sure to check out the GB3 family playlist on the channel. Not too long ago, I've added Brad Tries the Illinois State Fair 2018. Whenever Brad finally posts the live stream that we did where we played video games, I'll be adding that as well. I ask that you follow me on Twitter. If you want, you can follow me on Facebook, but honestly, I don't do much on that because I hate Facebook. But follow me on Twitter if you want to find out the latest information about this channel or anyone that I work with. Also, I want to draw your attention to my partner in crime, Heisenberg's channel. He started playing through Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, the redacted version, which is where they change some of the crap that game had and give you good clues, and they speed up the text boxes and do a bunch of things that people hated about that game, because I liked Castlevania 2, but boy was there some stuff to hate, and this version of it supposedly fixes all those. So check out his channel to find out what he thought of this new redacted version of Castlevania 2. A bit ago on Bill's channel, we got together and played Joe and Mac on the SNES. You can see just how bad I am as a caveman. Also, Bill and I started playing the remake of Shadowgate a while back over on his channel, and this next Monday, live around 8 p.m., we're headed back to the Shadowgate world. We're going to be playing it live again. That's next Monday around 8 p.m. Central Time over on his channel. That's Heisenerd. That's Heisenerd. So make sure to check that out. As always, I want to thank everyone for your support of this channel and of this program. I have a lot of fun doing this every week. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of prep time, but when I finally get it in the can, I usually feel pretty good that I got all that information out there, and I enjoy sharing all that information with you and my opinions on some of that stuff. So thank you guys so much for your support of this program and of this channel. If you like what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Reel Geno YouTube channel, like this video, and if you have any comments about this program or any of the stories that I talked about, make sure to leave a comment in the section below. Until next time, I am your host, the Reel Geno, Geno Reynolds. See you later. Peace.